Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Don't know what happened there. Streamer problems. Okay, I think everything should be working the way it's supposed to now. Let me know if for some reason it is not. I was fiddling with some stuff in Streamlabs and apparently messing with my webcam thing screwed up my normal live screen, so we're just going to kind of do this little bare bones one today. It'll be fine. So anyway, hello, I'm Junie, and welcome to the Big Fat Dragon Age Lorethrough. This is a series that I've been doing on my Twitch channel for a couple of months now, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. If you are one of my Twitch people, you're probably like, wait, why does it say episode 1 again? Why does it say reboot? And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I was doing the City Elf playthrough for my origin story, which is like my canon playthrough. But as I was thinking about the lore, I realized that doing a Dalish origin is actually going to serve us better in terms of like later. I really want you guys to be able to see some of that stuff from the beginning. So we're going to start over with a Dalish elf origin. The other reason that I'm rebooting is that if you're familiar with Twitch, you know that the videos don't stay around forever. And I want, because like the whole goal of me doing these videos is to give people access to the lore that they might not have already, because so much of the lore in the BioWare games is kind of locked behind sort of a paywall, in that you have to buy like the books and the comics and watch the movies and all that jazz in order to really get the full picture. And so I want this to kind of be a resource for people before Dragon Age 4 comes out, hopefully someday, so that they can kind of watch what the games are like and absorb some of that lore without having to go and buy, 5 novels and 6 graphic novels and all that other stuff. So I want to be able to preserve it. And I realized a little bit too late that in order to do that through Twitch, I was going to need to be saving my videos. And I hadn't done that from the beginning. So by streaming to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time, I am now able to preserve these on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching from YouTube after the fact, hello, I hope you enjoy the series, and please feel free to leave me a comment with any questions you have or any feedback, or if you want me to do like a deep dive on any particular subject, let me know. So yeah, anyway, we are going to go ahead and get rolling with our new playthrough with our Dalish elf origin. And I am going to kind of briefly go through the different origin options as we load our new game, just so that if you are completely new to this game and you've never even seen it before, you kind of know what the different options are all about. So let's get her going. And so is the golden city blackened with each step you take in my hall. Marvel at perfection, for it is fleeting. You have brought sin to heaven and doom upon all the world. Canticle of Threnodies, chapter 8, verse 13.
The chantry teaches us that it is the hubris of men which brought the Darkspawn into our world. The mages had sought to usurp heaven, but instead, they destroyed it. They were cast out, twisted and cursed by their own corruption. They returned as monsters, the first of the Darkspawn. They became a blight upon the lands, unstoppable and relentless. The dwarven kingdoms were the first to fall, and from the deep roads, the Darkspawn drove at us again and again, until finally we neared annihilation.
It's grim.
Until the Grey Wardens came. Men and women from every race, warriors and mages, barbarians and kings. The Grey Wardens sacrificed everything to stem the tide of darkness, and prevailed. It has been 4 centuries since that victory, and we have kept our vigil. We have watched and waited for the Darkspawn to return. But those who once called us heroes have forgotten. We are few now, and our warnings have been ignored for too long. Too late. For I have seen with my own eyes what lies on the horizon. Maker, help us all.
Dun dun dun. I love that guy. That's Duncan. He's great. We'll meet him later. So, yeah, those things that he was fighting, and he was kind of talking about the blights. He mentions that it's been 400 years since that victory, and that victory is the previous blight, which would have been the 4th blight, which was in the Exalted Age, I think. And it'll get into that a little bit. But so yeah, it's been several hundred years since that blight happened, but blights have been happening for like 1,000 years. Like, it's been going on for a really long time. So the footage that you just saw of that previous one was not like the very first one. It's been going on much longer than that. So in Origins, you get to pick a few different things about your player character. So you can pick your gender, your race, your class, and your background. So I'm going to be playing a girl. And for your race, you have 3 different options. You can be a human, an elf, or a dwarf. And then within those different options, there are options for class and background, some of which are race locked in terms of your origin and which class you can be. So as a human, you can be any of the classes, and then which class you choose determines which background you have available to you. So if you choose the warrior or the rogue class, you are a human noble. And you are, I'm trying to remember what level of nobility you are. You're not like a prince or a princess, but, you are kind of like the tier below that within the nobility hierarchy in your home country. And, if you are a mage, then you only have one background available to you for that as well, which is living in the Circle Tower. So the Circle Tower is kind of like a place of education for mages. It's where they learn how to control their power. So that's the origin that you start out as if you are a mage. And then rogue, again, is the human noble background. We'll do elf last since that's the one we're picking. For a dwarf, you actually don't have the option of being a mage. So in this world, dwarves are actually cut off from magical power. Magical power comes from a place called the Fade, which is kind of a mirror world to the real world, but different, and we'll get more into that too. But dwarves are cut off from the Fade, which means not only do they not use magic, but they actually don't even have the ability to have dreams when they sleep. So no magic if you pick a dwarf, but you can be a fighter or a rogue. And with either one of those, you have the option of being a noble. And in this case, you are the child of the king, so you're the prince or princess of Orzammar, which is kind of the capital of dwarven society. Or you can be casteless. So the dwarven social hierarchy is a caste system. And usually your caste is based on your kind of your profession. So like there's a smith caste, and there is a merchant caste. But if you are kind of on the very lowest tier, you don't have a caste at all. And you're essentially doomed to either a life of abject poverty, or you can turn to crime. And that's your origin story in this game. You are working for an organization called the Carta, which is kind of the mob of the dwarf world. And that's how you start out in that origin. For an elf, you have all three of the classes available to you. If you are a mage, again, your only option is the Circle of Magi origin. If you are a warrior or a rogue, though, you actually have two other options. So choosing an elf as your race actually gives you the most choices in terms of which background you want to take. So I am going to play as a rogue, but rogue and warrior both have the same backgrounds available to them. So the first option, which is the one that I was doing in my previous playthrough, is the city elf. So elves are kind of second-class citizens in Thedas, unfortunately, and they were the original inhabitants. They're kind of the indigenous people of Thedas, if you will. And they were, after the humans came, they were kind of pushed out and ended up being sort of nomadic and traveling in groups. And eventually there was another conflict that caused another fight with the humans. And at that point, they gave the Dalish the option of like, either you can come and live with us in our cities and be civilized and give up your religion and all your culture, or you can live out in the woods and just be at the mercy of, you know, nature. And so if you live in the city, you basically are relegated to a slum. The area that you live in is called an alienage. It's walled off from the rest of the city. The elves in the city are very poor. Most of them worship the Chantry, which is this world's version of the church. Again, we'll get into that a lot more later. So you've kind of abandoned all of your old traditions, and it's not a super pleasant life. And then there's the Dalish, and the Dalish are kind of your classic like wood elf archetype. They live in groups and they are nomadic and kind of travel from place to place in these big, beautiful wagons called aravels. Some people in Thedas call them land ships, but they're like these big, beautiful wagons with big red sails, almost like a ship. You have facial tattoos, which are representative of the god that you have kind of an affinity for. And you have retained, you know, your old traditions for the most part. You still worship the Elven Pantheon versus the Chantry. And this is the background that we are going to pick because, as I said, I feel like in later games, a lot of what we learn in this background really comes into play. So this is who we are going to choose. So, proud of your role as one of the few true elves, you've always assumed you would spend your life with your tribe, until a chance encounter with a relic of your people's past threatens to tear you away from everything you've ever known.
Greetings.
So, you have a lot of options for the different appearance sliders. Like, you can change your size of your eyes and your ears and stuff. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly just because I don't want to bore you guys by spending 1,000 years on my girl's look, but let's go with that one. Don't really care about blush. You can choose your tattoo, which, as I said, these are based on the different gods in your pantheon. Sorry, I'm debating. I think we'll go with this one. So this is the tattoos are called Valislin, which is an elven word that means blood writing. It's the tattoo that you get when you come of age. And this one represents the god Andrul, who is the goddess of the hunt. So we're going to go with this one. And they'll go over all the different gods and goddesses in the codex entries and stuff. So we won't talk a whole lot about those, but... that. And let's see, that's the hair option I want. Gonna make her look mostly like my other character with the exception of having tattoos. Because when you're a city elf, you don't have tattoos. Because you don't believe in the gods that the tattoos belong to, so... All right, we'll call that good. And you can do all kinds of fun things with your portrait. You can change the angle that you're at. You can change the background. That one's my favorite. You can also change your expression, and there are some that get downright goofy. I'm just going to leave her with a regular one. And then you can also choose, this is the only game that does this, but you get to choose your voice. There's a bunch of different options for like different styles of voices. In Inquisition, you can choose between like a British or American accent, but it doesn't, like, you don't get different banter based on the style of voice that you select, whereas in this game you do. Some of them are kind of annoying, but
greetings.
Give you a
Charmed.
Look at what they all sound like.
Greetings. Greetings. How do you do? Greetings.
I usually go with experienced.
Greetings.
And I'm just going to keep the standard name. That's fine. All right. So now you get to pick your attributes, and these are based on what class you picked. That's like kind of how they give you your starting dice roll on this. And then you have 5 points to spend anywhere you want. You can't lower anything to get extra points to spend elsewhere. So this is what you start with, and that is what you have to start with. And then you can add to wherever you want. Okay. And then you get to pick your skills. I usually start out with stealing. Actually, I think I'm going to do coercion first on this one. And then we'll do lockpicking and below the belt, which will help me out in fights. And we are going to be playing on easy. This is not a look how badass I am at this game playthrough. This is a story-focused Lorethrough, so I'm not going to break a sweat if I don't have to on fighting. So yeah, we're going to do the cakewalk level of difficulty.
You were born amidst the Dalish elves, noble wanderers who refused to join the society of humans that subjugated their homeland so long ago. The Dalish travel the land in tightly knit clans, struggling to maintain their half-forgotten lore in a human world that fears and despises them. You spend your time hunting with your clanmate Tamlin in the forests, and as is sometimes the case, your quarry is not always the local wildlife.
It's a Dalish!
And you three are somewhere you shouldn't be.
Let us pass, Elf. You have no right to stop us.
No? We will see about that, won't we? You're just in time. I found these humans lurking in the bushes. Bandits, no doubt.
We aren't bandits, I swear. Please don't hurt us.
You Shemlin are pathetic. It's hard to believe you ever drove us from our homeland.
We've never done nothing to you, Dalish. We didn't even know this forest was yours.
This forest isn't ours, fool. You've stumbled too close to our camp. You Shems are like vermin. We can't trust you not to make mischief. What do you say, Lethalon? What should we do with them?
What should we do with them? Let's find out what they are doing here. Seems like we should at least, explore what their motivations are before we just stick an arrow in them.
Does it matter? Hunting or banditry, we'll need to move camp if we let them live.
Look, we didn't come here to be trouble. We just found a cave.
Yes, a cave. With ruins like I've never seen. We thought there might be,
Treasure? So you're more akin to thieves than actual bandits.
Harsh, Tamlin. Well, yeah, if they've been there, then they should be able to prove it with, whatever they took from there. So let's see what they've got.
I have proof. Here, we found this just inside the entrance.
This stone has carvings. Is this Elvish? Written Elvish?
There's more in the ruins. We didn't get very far in, though.
How do you know that's Elvish, Tamlin?
I've seen something similar on the Keeper's scrolls. And this is all you found? Why didn't you look for more?
There was a demon. It was huge with black eyes. Thank the Maker we were able to outrun it.
A demon. Where is this cave?
Just off the west, I think. There's a cave in the rock face and a huge hole just inside.
Well, do you trust them? Shall we let them go?
You've frightened them enough. Let's just let them go.
Run along then, Shems. And don't come back until we Dalish have moved on.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, shall we see if there's any truth to this story? These carvings make me curious.
I'm going to adjust something real quick. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Went to the wrong screen. Okay, sorry. I couldn't see my chat box and I wanted to make sure that I could see it in case anybody pops in. Okay. I I mean, I think it would probably be a good idea to tell the keeper what we're doing, since they're the ones who know about magic, etc.
She might be interested in these carvings, but let's see if there's anything more before we get excited. Besides, we're already here. Now, they said it was to the west.
All right. A million codex entries later. So real quick, just some elven vocabulary. He called me Lethalon, which is just kind of a term of endearment that the elves use among one another. And then the other word that you are probably not familiar with is Shem, which is short for Shemlin, and that is what the elves call the humans. In the elven language, Shemlin means quick children, and they call them that because initially elves were very long-lived, darn near immortal, and the humans, by comparison, had an extremely short lifespan, and so that's what the elves nicknamed them. And then just over the years, it got shortened to Shem. And it's, I guess, somewhat derogatory. It's not as bad as some of the fantasy racism slurs in this game, but it's not usually meant kindly. So, codex entries. All right, let's read about the Dalish real quick. In time, the human empires will crumble. We've seen it happen countless times. Until then, we wait. We keep to the wild borderlands. We raise Hala and build Aravels and present a moving target to the humans around us. We try to keep hold of the old ways, to relearn what was forgotten. We call to the ancient gods, although they do not answer and have not heard us since before the fall of Arlathon, so that one day they might remember us, he who overthrew his father, Mythal the protector, Fenharel the dread wolf, Andruel the huntress, Felindin the friend of the dead, Dirthaman the keeper of secrets, Gillanane the mother of Hala, June the master of crafts, and Selais the hearthkeeper. We gather every 10 years for the Arleth Ven to retell the ancient stories and keep them alive. For when the human kingdoms are gone, we must be ready to teach the others what it means to be elves. As told by Gizharel, keeper of the Ralafaran clan of the Dalish elves. So, went over the Pantheon pretty briefly there, and I'm sure we will have codex entries on more of them later, but that's kind of a brief Cliff's Notes version of who the elven gods are. Arlathon is or Arlathan, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is the ancient elven empire that stretched all across Thedas before it was overtaken by the humans. So, and then Hala. We haven't met a Hala yet. Those are sort of like deer, but with sort of twisting and intertwining antlers. Very pretty. We'll definitely run into some of those. We don't need to read the credits, and we're also not going to read these, but I'm going to stop them from being yellow so that I know when I actually have something new. Okay. So the Dalish travel in groups, like I said. Their groups are called clans. Your clan is the Mahariel clan. Oh, you can't pick it. It's a little wilds flower. Isn't it cute? Uh-oh.
Stay still! Let's get started. Time for a spot on it. You're mine! Mission.
You're no match for me.
Let's get started. On it.
As soon as I'm able to, I'm going to switch to daggers because I honestly do not like using an arrow in this game. So, as I was saying, this is what a Hala looks like. And she did. That's very sad. Hala. No creature is more revered by the Dalish than the Hala. No other animal has a god of its own. These white stags are much larger than ordinary deer, and the Dalish Hala keepers carve their antlers as they grow, making them curve into intricate designs. In ancient times, these stags bore elven knights into combat, but since the fall of the Dales, they're used less as mounts and more to pull the Aravels. And wolves, which you should be familiar with. It's rather unfair, the reputation that the wolf possesses in Ferelden. For a people that so clearly adore their hounds, Fereldans simultaneously harbor a distrust of wolves that borders on the unreasonable. Unreasonable, that is, if one were not familiar with the ancient legends regarding werewolves. There was a time in Ferelden's past when demons inhabited the bodies of wolves in great numbers, causing the wars against werewolves and spreading great fear and panic. The werewolves were slain, but even today the noble wolf is still looked upon with distrust. From Legends of Ferelden by Mother Alis of Denerim, 910 Dragon. An attack by wolves upon civilized folk happens rarely, often only in times of desperation, and even then only when the wolves have the advantage of numbers. This can change during a blight. When darkspawn rise onto the surface, their presence dramatically alters the savage nature of normal beasts. In Blight's past, as the corruption of the darkspawn spread through the wilder areas of Thedas, it would infect the animals found there, and the more powerful of them would survive and be transformed into a more vicious and dangerous beast. A blight wolf is one such example, mad with the pain of its infection, and only through the overriding command of the darkspawn does it still retain some semblance of its pack instincts. Blight wolves are always found in large groups and will tend to overwhelm a single target if they can, using their numbers to their advantage. It's fortunate that these creatures rarely survive their corruption for very long. And we will learn a lot more about the Blight and Darkspawn and all that jazz very shortly. So, don't fret if you don't know what any of that means. All right. Not really going to bother switching to that, but I guess I could trade Tamlin, although I don't really like using a shield. I'll just wait until I can get daggers. It's fine. The Brazilian Forest. Do tell. There are places in the Brazilian Forest where the veil is so thin, the difference between awake and dreaming is next to nothing. In one such place, a wood shaper was born under such unfortunate stars that his mother named him Abelas, which means sorrow, and he lived up to his name. He could keep no apprentices and lost his stock of bows in mishap after mishap until finally he had nothing. The rest of the clan began to fear that his ill luck would harm them too, and whispered among themselves of casting him out. Abeles heard them and resolved to change his luck, and so went into the forest alone to seek a suitable tree from which to make bows. At last he spied a young rowan growing beside a stream. He drew his axe, and the tree cried out in fear, begging to be spared. But Abelas said, "If I do not take your life, mine will surely end." With 2 strokes he felled the tree. From the tree he made the finest 3 bows he had ever crafted. Pleased, Abelas returned to camp and gave his bows to the hunters at once. By nightfall, however, the camp was in an uproar. The hunters had returned with braces of hairs which, when cut open, revealed only worms and sawdust. The elder said it was a sign that the hunters had robbed some spirit of its host, for it is well known that spirits do not go about the waking world on their own, but inhabit another creature's body. The elder worked a charm to banish the spirit back to the Fade, and the clan went to sleep hungry. The next day the hunters brought back a doe, and again the beast bled sawdust. Now the clan began to fear the spirit would starve them and wondered what they'd done to deserve it. Abelas came forward then and told of the rowan tree. The elder considered for a long time before declaring that they must replace what Abelas had taken from the spirit. So he sent the hunters to dig up a rowan sapling and bring it living to the camp. There the elder ordered the sapling planted and appealed to the spirit for forgiveness. There was a terrible sound then, as if the whole forest were crying out in protest. Darkness fell upon the camp, though it was just past midday. And when the darkness passed, a rowan grove, every tree bearing the frozen face of a terrified elf, stood where the camp had been. From then on, it was forbidden in every clan to cut living trees in the Brazilian forest. The spirits know nothing of forgiveness. The Rowan Grove, a Dalish tale from Ferelden, Folklore and History by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Now, there's a character later in the story whose name is also Abelas, and I have no idea if these are meant to be the same person. If so, that's very interesting. I'll just say that. I'll just say that, and then I'll do some research and find out if they're even supposed to be the same guy. Surely, the elves reuse names just like we do. Like, maybe Abelas is the elven version of Steve or something. Pick some elf root. So elf root is very good for healing. You can use it in potions, or you can also just chew on it, and it will help heal you.
Right.
This must be the cave.
A creepy cave.
I don't recall seeing this before, do you?
No, and I don't think we should go in alone because I'm a sensible person, Tamlin.
There's nobody else here, and I'm not running back for help unless there's something worth making a fuss over. Come on, let's at least see what's there. How dangerous could it be?
Wow, Tamlin. Poor choice of words and decisions. How dangerous could it be?
It looks like the Shem was telling the truth. But these ruins look more human than elven.
Let's get started. As you wish. On it.
Sorry if anybody out there is arachnophobic.
Let's get started. As you wish. Let's get started. On it.
Giant spider was carrying cash. Like you do. Some gloves, that's nice. Little wheelbarrow there. Interesting motif there on the wall. Ah, dagger. Okay, now we are going to trade. You're going to take this. Actually, yeah, no, that's fine. You can't? No, you can. Take it. Target. And then I'm going to take this dagger. Oh, I was going to steal his sword. That sucks. I'm not strong enough. I was going to do a one-hand sword and one-hand dagger, but that's fine. Ruin my plans. It's fine. All right. Let's go through here. Don't know how much it matters which way we go to begin with.
Let's get started.
Must be on the other side of the door. I'm trying to figure out. So, I feel like there's another statue like that at the Dalish camp that's supposed to be Selace, which is the goddess of the hearth and fire and stuff. Which, if that is her, then this does look elven, because the humans didn't worship her. So,
Trap.
I don't think I can do.
On it.
Yeah, nope, I can't. not there yet.
Let's get started. This should be easy enough. There is your weakness! This should be easy enough. This should be easy enough.
Hey, Dad!
Wow. Alright. Is there anything in here? Got some what look like sarcophaguses. You cannot go through here. Little spider sack up there. This is the part in this particular fantasy game where I would be super dead. Like, I don't do spiders. I've gotten better about it than I used to be, but they do freak me out, and I know for a fact that I could not hang with giant ones.
Trap!
Yeah, I see it. Go around it.
Trap!
I'm going to scoot this down to my quick bar here. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in terms of exploring here.
Watch for the beasts. Right. Ha! Is that all you got? Right. Let's get started. This should be easy enough. As you wish. On it. Right. This should be easy enough.
Oh.
Right. Let's get started.
So upsetting. Thank you, Tamlin. Ugh. Wow. That was like the worst point of view ever. Could not see what I was doing. And I was getting munched on. Just a bad day all around.
Trap!
So I think this is that other hallway that we opted not to go down. Right? Yes. Okay. Here's a couple more of those statues. Having trouble placing what this guy is. Those aren't that much better than what we've already got. We'll just sell them later. Nothing over here. Well, that armor sure looks elven. Wonder how long that guy's been there.
I can't believe this. You recognize this statue, don't you?
It's worn, but it looks vaguely familiar.
Back when our people lived in Arlathan, statues like these honored the creators. When the Shems enslaved us, much of that lore was lost. This looks like human architecture, with the statue of our people. Can these ruins date back to the time of Arlathan?
It's interesting. So much of our past is lost to us. We'll act interested in the lore, because that's why we're here.
I'd never have guessed ancient elves might have lived here. With humans.
Did they, though? What's over there? Ah, okay. We're gonna hold off on that and just make sure there's nothing else down this path. Yeah, that's definitely elven armor. They're not wearing shoes, which is kind of like classic elven.
This should be easy enough.
Yeah. It's not. But I'm pretty sure that was the chamber we were just in, so it's okay.
Living wretches.
Dang it.
Let's get started. It's either you or me, and it isn't gonna be me.
Been waiting for this. Are those walking corpses? This place is haunted.
Let's get started.
Big sword. All right. See what's over here.
This should be easy.
Time for a little fun.
This should be easy enough. On it. Let's get started.
Time for a little fun.
Let's make this quick, shall we? As you wish. On it. Right.
By the creators. What was that thing?
As you wish.
Demonic poison. I wonder if we get a codex entry on this guy yet. Yeah. Oh no, it's on the giant spiders. I guess we'll read about them. Giant spiders tend to appear in old ruins and other places where the veil has become thin because of magical disturbances or a great number of deaths. In such places, spirits and demons pass into the world of the living and attempt to take control over living beings, spiders among them. Not all scholars accept this explanation for the presence of these beasts, however. Some claim that the thinning veil allows magic to leak from the Fade, tainting such creatures as these spiders to transform into larger and more potent creatures than they ever would become naturally. While such spiders are known to possess powerful poisons and the ability to fling their webs at opponents in combat, studies of them have been few, and the full range of their abilities are unknown. But they big and they creepy. So the veil is kind of like a wall, sort of, that separates the Fade from the real world. But it is not as strong in some places as it is in others. So in places where it is thin, lots of weird shit tends to happen.
Started.
We're not going to look at that yet. We're going to loot the chamber first. Like a domed ceiling up there.
You aren't going to leave without taking a closer look at the mirror, are you?
I don't trust it, and neither should you.
It sat here for who knows how many centuries? What could be so dangerous? Don't worry, I won't break it. I wonder what this writing is for. Maybe this isn't... Hey, did you see that? I think something moved inside the mirror.
You should probably get away from it.
Hold on, I just want to know what it is. Don't you see it? There it is again. Can you feel that? I think it knows we're here. I just need to take a closer look. It's showing me places. I can see some kind of city. Underground. And there's a great blackness.
saw me. Help! I can't look away!
Gasp. Who could have predicted?
Can you hear me? I am very sorry.
Hi, pepper onion soup. I am missing an offhand weapon. The only sword that I have is I don't have the strength for it, so I'm waiting until I have another dagger. So, yes, I am missing a weapon. I'm hoping that I can get one in
You've
camp.
the God's own luck, Lethalon.
I don't like using the bow
You're
in
back
this
at
game.
Camp. Everyone is worried sick about you. How do you feel?
Where is that Tamlin?
I don't know. The Shem who brought you here saw no sign of him.
Oh, yeah. We did meet some Shems in the forest. Was it one of those guys?
I doubt you could have driven this one off. He was a Grey Warden and appeared out of nowhere with you slung over his shoulder. You were delirious with fever. He said that he found you outside a cave in the forest, unconscious and alone. He left you here and ran off again. The Keeper's been using the old magic to heal you.
Let's talk to the Keeper. She probably know what happened.
She wants to talk to you too. Stay here, I'll get her.
I see you are awake, Dalan. It is fortunate Duncan found you when he did. I know not what dark power held you, but it nearly bled the life from you. It was difficult even for my magic to keep you alive.
See if she knows what the heck happened.
I know only that the Grey Warden found you in front of a strange cave, sick and alone. Duncan thought there may have been darkspawn creatures inside the cave. Is that true?
Not really. She probably wouldn't have ever seen a darkspawn before, so asking the Keeper what darkspawn look like makes sense.
Like a man, but dark and tainted with evil. Perhaps you fought one in the cave and it wounded you.
Nope, that was the mirror.
A mirror. And it caused all this? I have never heard of such a thing in all the lore we have collected. I was hoping for answers when you woke, but there are only more questions. And Tamlin remains missing. He is more important than any lore in these ruins. If he is as sick as you were, his condition is grave. Duncan returned to the cave to search for Darkspawn, but we cannot rely on him to look for Tamlin as well. We must go ourselves, and quickly. Do you feel well enough to show us the way, Dalan? Without you, we will not find it.
Well, sure. I'd love to go back.
I am relieved to hear it. I am ordering
Can't
the clan
wait.
to pack the camp so we can go north. Take Merrill with you to the cave. Find Tamlin if you can, but do it swiftly.
Are you guys just gonna bounce while we're gone?
If there is any truth to what Duncan said, then Darkspawn may show up in these parts soon. We must get away from that horde. But that is not our only concern. Did you encounter any other humans out in the forest?
Sure did. Why do you ask?
Although you hurt no one, these humans roused their nearby village against us. As everywhere, our people are not welcome here. We have stayed too long, and we must move on, quickly.
Humans be assholes. You don't want to find out more about this mirror?
I would be lying if I said I was not. But whatever knowledge lies in that cave is not worth our children. I send you back with hopes of finding Tamlin, and that is all.
Why do you want me to take Meryl?
Meryl knows a degree of my magic. Tamlin's chances of surviving the journey back are greater with her help. I also wish for Meryl to see this cave and mirror. She has a sense for these things, and could shed light on the nature of this illness.
That is a good point. Doesn't she risk getting sick too?
You recovered, and Meryl will too. Still, be careful. Should you come upon this strange mirror again, do not touch it.
She seems very confident that Meryl's gonna be just fine. I don't know why. Why does she assume that because I survived, everybody else will too, when we don't know what happened to Tamlin? Like, that feels very... She's making a lot of assumptions, is what I'm saying. But okay, let's do it.
Go quickly, for Tamlin's life hangs in the balance.
I do need more equipment, for sure. Let's see if we can ask her some questions, though. Let's ask about the Grey Warden.
When Tamlin's life is at stake? Oh, very well.
I thought the Grey Wardens had disappeared.
Not quite, Dylan. After they defeated the Darkspawn long ago, the Grey Warden's numbers diminished greatly over the centuries. It seems the humans have little use for them if Darkspawn aren't actively raising their lambs. I suppose the thought of Darkspawn returning one day did not occur to them.
But they did return.
The Grey Warden thinks so. A war may be in the offing. If so, we must get as far away from it as possible.
Why don't we help?
Let the humans fight their battles, as we must fight our own.
I don't think the Darkspawn ignore the Dalish just because they're Dalish. Like, it seems kind of short-sighted because the Blight kills indiscriminately, but... Why did you believe anything the Shemlin said?
He seemed honorable, and his care for your safety speaks well of him. I trust my judgment.
How did he know where to bring me?
He said he had been looking for our clan, and had a hint of our whereabouts. As I said, you were fortunate. It is possible he sought a volunteer to join their order.
Dalish have joined these Grey Wardens before?
Indeed. The Grey Wardens once consisted of the best from all races. I know of no Dalish joining them since the days of the Darkspawn Wars, however.
What if he asks for one now?
It would be a great honor, though I don't know why any Dalish would choose such a life. Regardless, he has not asked.
So in the previous Blight, it was actually stopped by an elf named Garahel, but I'm fairly certain he and his sister were city elves, not Dalish. But yeah, the Wardens come from all different races and all different backgrounds. They're a kind of a fondue of different types. They kind of remind me a little bit of like the Night's Watch from Game of Thrones. Like, they take in a lot of people who have criminal pasts who are kind of hoping to sort of expunge that from their record by doing good for the world. And they also, fight off the monsters that everybody wants to keep at bay, but nobody really wants to, sign up to fight. So they're the ones who kind of hold the line in the same way that the Night's Watch holds the line at the wall. So similar. Are these Grey Wardens great warriors?
They are the best and most noble of all races, Dalen. Few can achieve their standards.
No more questions about the Grey Warden.
Then do not tarry. Find Tamlin quickly.
But I do have more questions about other stuff.
Remember that Tamlin needs your help.
Yeah. Listen, actions have consequences and he needs to learn his lesson. So he can just hold on. We're trying to find some lore here, Keeper. Didn't the Grey Wardens destroy the Darkspawn?
They destroyed the last horde of Darkspawn to threaten the surface centuries ago. It doesn't mean they extinguished them all.
Spoiler alert, they didn't. You think this cave was a Darkspawn lair?
Darkspawn are savage, uncultured creatures, more akin to locusts than men. They may have befouled the cave, but they did not build what is there. From the Warden's description, it may have been a temple devoted to an old god. Should we return, I may see it for myself.
Why did the Grey Warden think I'd met a Darkspawn?
Darkspawn are filthy, diseased beasts that taint the very air around them. The Grey Wardens seem to think your illness came from this taint. Since you did not meet any Darkspawn, I don't see how that could be. No doubt he was mistaken.
What is a darkspawn?
They are mostly boogeymen, used to frighten human children. In modern times, they are rarely seen on surface lands. But rumor holds that great numbers dwell in the ancient tunnels of the Draganlan, the dwarves. They obliterate all that is in their path. Like a plague of locusts, they spread disease and misery when they come to the surface. An event to be feared, without doubt.
Could that bear-like monster have been a darkspawn? I don't think we've mentioned the bear-like monster. She's probably gonna be like, what? The what now?
The old tomes say Darkspawn come in as many varieties as surface creatures. They also say that many Darkspawn are seen only during what the humans call a Blight. Perhaps your bear monster was one of those.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a codex entry on the Bearscarn. No more questions.
Then do not tarry. Find Tamlin quickly.
So, since we apparently didn't get a codex entry, I'm just looking it up on the Dragon Age wiki. So essentially, the Bearscarn is a ghoul that has taken over the body of a bear. So it's similar to like the Blight wolf that they were discussing in the chapter about wolves, or the codex entry about wolves, excuse me. So yeah, kind of the same thing, just a bear that's been infected by the taint. And we might get a little blurb about them when we get an entry on just like regular old bears, kind of like they talked about the Blight wolves in the entry on just your standard wolves. But that's what that was. I do need more equipment.
Master Island can help you. Go to him and ask to see his stock.
Bye. Yes, please give me a dagger because I'm running around with one. Well, there's one for free. Check that out. And let's see, I have a little belt I can wear, a little stamina regeneration. Let's see what he's got. Oh, there's Fenarl. Kind of similar to Fenharl, which is the Dreadwolf that was mentioned in the Elven Pantheon.
Is the Keeper sending you back to that cave to look for Tamlin?
Sure is. Does everybody know about the cave?
Yes. The clan's been talking about it since that Grey Warden brought you back. I want to go with you. Keeper Marithari probably won't approve, but I can help find Tamlin.
I'm only supposed to take Meryl.
Tamlin's my friend too. I want to help find him. If Meryl can risk it, so can I. Good. I'll follow you. Just to make sure Meryl doesn't go running to the Keeper when you tell her I'm coming.
Not gonna turn down an extra pair of hands. Maybe that gets me in trouble. I don't know. Ooh, some gloves. Nice, 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 nice. So these are the Arabels, the land ships I was talking about. Little skull there.
I'm glad you survived. Losing 2 of our young would be a great blow to the clan.
Some bottles. She's apparently been, you know, hitting them early today.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
That animation was really unsettling.
So you have returned to us, Dalen. We are grateful you're whole and well.
Thanks. Glad to be here as well, Haran.
So you should be. What were you two thinking, wandering into that cave without first coming to tell the Keeper?
It was Tamlin's fault.
Tamlin's idea, huh? And you've no mind of your own. I suppose your youth can be forgiven. Sadly, Tamlin pays the price. Losing you would be a terrible crime, Dalen. You belong to more than just yourself, or do you not remember?
What's that supposed to mean?
Let us tell these children of the fall of the Dales. You can honor me
Fine.
by sharing in the telling.
Oh, thank you so much, Stonehammer. That's really sweet of you to say. I am doing well today. How are you doing? I am trying to decide if I want to take a break and go grab something to eat, because I haven't had lunch yet, but... Anything exciting going on in your day? Okay, let's help this guy tell about the fall of the Dales. We are here for lore, so I mean...
Come then. Help me as I go along. Children, hear of the fall of the Dales. Hear the tale of what makes you Dalish. Would you care to begin, Dalen?
Starts with a mommy and daddy L. Oh, God. Yeah, no, we have to go with that one. That's hilarious.
Let us start with the history that makes us Dalish. When we were slaves.
Oh, that one.
Yes. Slaves to a terrible empire. The humans built on the darkest magic. When it fell, we became free. We built a homeland in the Dales, worshipping the creators, and rebuilding the culture and history we lost in our long years of slavery. But the humans would not leave us be. They were resentful, because we would not worship their gods, and because we put our people first. Over the years, their nations grew cold toward the Dales. In their eyes, we were blasphemers and cruel tyrants. A war erupted. The humans invaded our homeland in the name of their one god, denouncing our sacrilegious nation. And so the Dales fell. They took our lands and dispersed our people, forcing us to live in their cities and abandon our gods. But many of us refused to relinquish our ways. We instead chose to scatter to the winds, wandering the lands. To survive and preserve our culture, the clans stay apart, until the day the Elvenon have a homeland once more. We shall then return the old ways to those of our people who have lost them. We are the Dalish, keepers of the lost lore, walkers of the lonely path.
We are the last of the Elvenon, never again shall we submit. I really love that line, honestly. I don't feel bad about coming and talking to this guy and listening to his tale now, because you guys got to hear my favorite badass Dalish line.
The oath of the Dales, and no smart-mouth comment. Thank the creators for small mercies. I will let you get back to your tasks. I pray you find Tamlin quickly.
What if I ask you a bunch more questions while Tamlin's life hangs in the balance? How about that? Oh, I'm glad you had a good day. Dragon Age 2 is such a fun game. I'm very excited to get to the next couple of games. Like, I love this game, and I'm excited to finish this playthrough too, of course. But, yeah, Dragon Age 2 has such amazing characters. What class are you playing for your hawk? And are you a red hawk, a blue hawk, or a purple hawk? Tell me more about Dalish stuff.
Now that's something I rarely hear. Of course.
Tell me about Arlethon.
Ah, yes. The Lost City. Before the Shemlen enslaved us, even before they came to this part of the world, our people lived in glorious Arlathan. Legends say that our ancestors were immortal, and we possessed magic the Shemlen could only dream of.
I hate the pronunciation that they use right here. I don't know. Arlathan just doesn't sound very elven to me. Do no books record our history?
When the humans enslaved us, they took away our language, our history, and our immortality. We quickened to the pace of life and retained nothing of ourselves. We were slaves for so long that even when we became free, there was little for us to recover. If books still exist, I do not know of them.
I don't know if that's supposed to be like a bee or some other kind of buzzing insect that keeps coming around in the background there, but it's kind of distracting. We have cicadas outside right now, and every time I go outside, it's so loud at the moment. It's like screaming. Male Mage Hawk. Good choice, good choice. I'm usually a mix of blue and purple too. Yeah, I tend to be like, I would say like 75% purple and then just like a smattering of blue. For those of you who haven't played Dragon Age 2, your responses, instead of being in like a nice, neat little numbered list, they're in kind of a circle, and you can pick different responses, and they are based off of a personality type, basically. So blue is like very diplomatic and really kind, and then purple is kind of sarcastic and funny, and then red is sort of aggressive. So yeah, when you ask people about hawk characters, that's often what you'll hear is, you know, are you a blue hawk? Are you a red hawk? Or purple hawk? So that's what we're talking about. I like that system. I feel like Inquisition did a good job of kind of fleshing that out even more and giving you other like responses that are more tied to specific emotions as opposed to like a personality type. But I definitely like that you have an option of kind of seeing what, I guess, category your responses fall into with both of those games, if that makes sense. Whereas this, you just have to pick which line you like the best, so. Why do the Shems allow us to exist if they hate us so much?
Perhaps they have no choice. Dalish clans are scattered to the winds and rarely gather, which makes us difficult for any organized effort to destroy. And why bother? We have nothing they want. No land, no treasure, and we always move on, allowing no one to grow too angry with us. Some might see this as cowardly, but we are proud. We are the last, and we will survive.
So in the Codex entry about the Dalish, it mentioned something called the Arlath Fen, which is the big gathering of all the clans that happens I think it's every 10 years. So they don't get together very often, and they are literally like scattered to all corners of Thedas. And so they all get together, and there's like a big exchange of goods, like they trade with one another, because a lot of the different clans have things that they're kind of known for crafting, and so they all get together and trade, and the keepers all kind of get together and talk about sort of the status of the Dalish clans and like how things are going. And of course they spend a lot of time talking about, you know, their cultural aspects that they're trying to continue to preserve. So just kind of celebrating their old ways and enjoying fellowship with one another, because it's a pretty lonely life. You know, they're very isolated to their clans. They do trade with humans some, but humans are very distrustful of them, and they're very distrustful of humans, and so it's not like they hang out together and party. So yeah, it's kind of a nice reconnection with other people who are like them. So that's what he meant when he said that, like, they don't gather together very often. I'm so excited for Dragon Age 4. So excited. I'm like, I know we're probably still, you know, more than a year out from it, but like every little snippet of news that comes out just gets me more and more pumped for it. Like, I can't believe how long it's been since the original, like, Dreadwolf, like, trailer came out, like the very first one with Solus and his whole, you know, I suspect you have questions thing. It's been years, literal years. And I remember when that came out, like I was watching the Game Award. Was it the Game Awards? or was it E3? I can't remember. Whichever show they like debuted it on, I was watching, and so I got to see it happen live, and like I was so excited. Like I couldn't sleep that night. I was so excited. And here we are, years later, just like grabbing onto every scrap we can while we wait. But I don't want them to rush it. I want them to take their time. And I know that like crunch with BioWare has been a big problem in terms of like the morale of the developers and the quality of the games to some extent too. So I definitely want them to take their time. I want them to like prioritize their own mental health and well-being as they're working on these games that we love so much. But I'm also just so like impatient and anxious and like excited for it. So I think it's gonna be fantastic just based on what we've seen, like the concept art and the post-Inquisition media that we've gotten. Like it just seems like they're bringing a lot of really cool stuff into it. So yes, better to take the time to get it as good as possible. You are exactly right. You are exactly right. Because Dragon Age 2, like, I will die on the hill of it being a fantastic game despite its flaws, but you can see the areas where they weren't able to do everything that they wanted with it because they were on such tight deadlines. So what happened to the elves who didn't join the Dalish?
They remain in human cities, forgetting all they once had. We call them flat ears, for they differ little from their Shemlin masters. A few may return, but we must accept that they know nothing of the lore, or why we keep it.
I love that he's like, we have a derogatory name for them. Would you like to hear it? You want to hear the slur that we call the elves that didn't stay with us? Like, it's actually really sad the way that the elves kind of fight amongst themselves, the city elves and the Dalish elves. And there are definitely stories of like the Dalish taking in city elves who leave. There are stories of Dalish elves who go to live in the cities who get accepted by the alienage. But like, as a general rule, there's just a lot of distrust between the two of them because the Dalish view them as, you know, they basically caved to the humans and they've forgotten everything that was important in terms of like their culture and their religion. And then the city elves, on the flip side, view the Dalish as these like backwoods wackos who can't let go of the past and, you know, run around hugging trees and worshiping dirt. So they don't get along very well. And it's very sad because they both face the same kinds of oppression from humans. So you would think that they would like find strength in cooperation and like supporting one another. But no, instead they call each other names. Do you think we'll ever find another homeland?
We can hope to find a new home one day, where the Dalish and the Flat Ears will build a land greater even than Arlathan. We shall teach the Flat Ears the lore they lost, and perhaps they will teach us to understand the Shemlin at last. That is the only way we shall truly live in peace.
You might start with not calling them names. Just throwing that out there. My dude. My bro. That'll be all.
Then I'm sure you have much to do, unless you've other questions.
Yes, definitely agreed. Like, the story in Dragon Age 2 is fantastic. The characters are some of my favorites. But you can definitely see where they just didn't get to do everything with it that they really wanted to. And it's not enough, obviously, to keep me from playing and loving the game, but it's kind of sad to think about, like, what could this have been if they'd gotten to do everything that they really wanted, so... I guess we can see if he has any new information about the Wardens or the Darkspawn.
The one who brought you back? Very little. He seemed decent enough as humans go. As for Grey Wardens, they're heroes without a doubt. Members of our own clan joined their ranks in ages past.
What do you know about Darkspawn?
Only that they eat living flesh and lurk in underground tunnels, once ruled by the Dergenlen, the dwarves. In the last Blight long ago, the Grey Wardens all but wiped them out. Should they return, all races will shudder.
I like how he acknowledges that everybody should be concerned about this. Unlike Marithari, who's just like, just let the humans take care of it. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Did elves ever live in caves?
I've never heard of such a thing. But in the days of ancient Arlathan, we lived free and spread far across the continent. We were as varied as the Shemlin, though fewer in number. Perhaps some of us lived in caves then, but all knowledge from that era is lost.
I should go.
Of course. May the gods guide your path, Dalen.
All right. Let's see if we can find our quartermaster guy. Storage. Meryl. Cooking pit. Oh, there we are. That's where we want to go. The Bowmaker's Aravel. So we just need to kind of do an about face here. I have to say this area of the game, so I do play with mods, and I think they should all be listed in the YouTube description if anybody is curious as to which mods I'm using. If you're on Twitch, they're all listed in my little cards on my profile. But I'm using one that is like an unofficial remaster, which was done by Delicious. And this is one of the areas where they did a lot of work to make the Aravels look more lore friendly and more consistent across the games. And you can just tell like the textures are such an improvement over the vanilla game. It's just a really pretty area. All right, let's clear these out. Ah, there's another dagger. Get over there.
This should be easy enough.
Mwah.
Let's get started.
Wonder if it's not possible to pick, then I must need a key. I wonder where I get the key. It's been a very long time since I have played a Dalish elf origin. I typically do the city elf. That's like my canon playthrough, and so it's been a while. It's a very funny noise. You guys want to see the holla? Blah. I don't know why they sound like goats. Aren't they pretty? Can I just say I'm still salty about the fact that we have not gotten a holla mount for any of our Dalish characters. I want to ride around on one of those instead of like the horses or the elk that you get later. Not in this game, but in Inquisition they get mounts and no hollas. There's mods that let you turn one into a holla, but I haven't ever done one of the dwarf playthroughs in this game, and I keep meaning to. But
Anathara, it's good to see you recovered.
How are the holla? Are they behaving themselves?
They fare well. The Keeper called for the clan to move on, and they will be ready to take us. One is heavy with calf, but it shouldn't be a problem. May I ask of Tamlin's fate? Some say the clan will leave before we find him.
Well, he fucked around and found out. We're gonna try to find him.
The holla mourn our fallen. No sound is more heart-wrenching than their mourning cry. At least they won't be crying over you. They are quite fond of you.
Is that noise supposed to be their morning cry? Because it makes me giggle. It doesn't make me sad. Are they your friends, Marin?
They're more friends than servants. We do not dominate them as the Shemlin do their horses and dogs. At any rate, I do not envy the Keeper's decision. I'll pray for Tamlin's safe return.
All right. Hey, homie. What you got?
I'm glad you recovered. Once we find Tamlin, we can concentrate on the journey northward.
Thank you for the bow, Master Island. It is light and sturdy, much better than the one I made last year.
You are more than welcome. My father made it and used it in battle against the Clane tribes.
I will carry it with honor.
I could persuade him into giving me a bow, but I don't really like using bows. But maybe somebody else could use it later. Well, let's just see.
One of my own crafting, perhaps?
Yeah, sure.
It may not have a history, but you'll provide one for it soon enough, yes?
Nope. Thanks. I would like to hear the story of your father's battle.
Then I am proud to tell it. Our clan was one of the first to flee the Dales. When we came to Ferelden, the fiercest of the Shemlin were the barbarians known as the Clane. We didn't wait for them to attack us. Every Dalish clan in Ferelden united to bring the battle to them.
We shot first?
They were barbarians without honor. They would have slain us without a second thought. The ensuing battle went well for us. That day, we carved out our reputation of being the deadliest archers. Our arrows won us the right to wander these woods at will. It was this very bow that my father used that day.
Thank you for the tale, Master Island, and especially the bow. I will honor its history.
Why would you relinquish such a relic?
We are all the same clan. His hand is as my hand. I have relinquished nothing. It was my father who first spoke of the Vir Tanadal, the three ways of the hunter. The first is the Vir Asan, the way of the arrow, to reach for our goal unrelenting. The second is the Vir Borasan, the way of the bow, to bend but not to break. The last is the Vir Adalen, the way of the wood. We are as ancient as the forests, each tree a part of the greater land. All Dalish are united in this. One day, we shall have a homeland again.
May I see your craft?
Of course. Take whatever you need.
Yeah, so the Vir Tanadal is the way of the three trees. It's one of Andrul's philosophies on how the forest can kind of teach you to move through life. And so, you know, be flexible like a bow, resilient, and find strength in numbers, essentially, are what they mean. And there's actually more to them than what he said. I don't know if we'll get a codex entry on that in this game or not, but it definitely comes up in other games. So, okay. Let's see. What can we sell? We'll sell one of these since I have two of them. Sell the shields. Don't need 3 helmets. I should probably wear one, even though they make you look kind of doofy. Okay. Gonna buy this acid flask because those are handy. It's got a lot of traps. Thought I sold 2 of those. I only sold 1. Okay. We'll call that good.
Hello there. I don't think we've met.
Why haven't we met?
Ah, it's good you're well. You weren't here when Paul arrived, were you?
I've heard of you. Everyone is talking about you and the other missing hunter. A Grey Warden brought you back here.
You're not Dalish.
That obvious, is it? I just found your camp a couple of days ago. A lucky thing. I heard rumors in a nearby human village that a Dalish camp was close, and I hope to find your hunters in the forest.
You were fortunate I didn't shoot you, Paul. I thought you were a Shem, and a bandit at that. You're not the first city elf to rejoin his people. I'm sure you'll find life among us more satisfying than with the Shems, if no less harsh.
In the alienage, we hear terrible stories about the Dalish. They aren't true, right?
Depends. What have you heard? You don't have anything to worry about.
Thank you. The clan has been very kind and welcoming. I never expected it to be like this.
So, I'm trying to remember, in the city elf origin, so if you play as a city elf, it's your wedding day when the game starts, and there is an elf hanging out in your village, and he mentions that his brother sends his apologies that he couldn't be here because he's run away to join the Dalish. And I think this is the brother, if I'm not mistaken. In this game's canon, all of the origins happen, regardless of which one you choose. It's just that you're not involved in them. So the events of all the origin stories still play out without you for whichever one you're not a part of, if that makes sense. So somewhere that wedding is going really poorly as we speak.
That Shemlin was a Grey Warden. They are supposed to be great warriors.
Thank the creators. We were sure we'd lose you last night.
Nah, I'm cool. I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good.
Why would the Keeper call for a move so early? We were not expecting to leave for weeks.
Why do we have to leave again? We're always going somewhere. Why can't I go to the Shem City?
Because it's full of humans who will make your life miserable, tiny child. Okay, I think we've explored everything that direction. So let's go talk to Meryl.
That Shemlin was a Grey Warden. They are supposed to be great warriors.
She has earrings. I didn't get earrings. It's not fair.
Are you going to help look for Tamlin? Oh, poor boy. Lost somewhere out there.
I miss Tamlin. I want him to come home.
I am going to go talk to Ashal in just a second, but that is one thing that I kind of hope they will let us have in the next game is piercings. I think that would be fun.
By the creators, it is so good to see you whole and well. I was so worried.
Anethera.
All that time you were ill, the Keeper didn't know if you were going to live or die. I've been outside the Keeper's tent the whole time. I have never been so relieved as when I heard you would pull through. What happened? Everyone says Tamlin may be dead.
He's gone.
That's awful. He's been a good friend to you since you were fledglings. You must be more careful. Your mother and father, may they rest in peace, would be horrified to see you take such risks.
Well, at least you're here to nag me instead. At least that. Yeah, piercings would make character creation so much fun. I already spent way too long creating all of my Inquisition characters, like getting lost in the sliders for, hours. So, I definitely need one more thing to spend time on. But that's honestly one of the most fun parts of starting one of those new games is dreaming up your character and making them look the way that you want them to. So I just hope we get good hair. If the hair is anything like it was in Inquisition, I'm just going to rage quit before I even start. BioWare, if you're listening, that's all I want. That's all I want for Dragon Age 4. Just good hair, please, dear God. You've never spoken of my parents much. Why don't we see if you can tell us anything about them?
What happened to them is a sad tale, and it's in the past. Reopening old wounds benefits no one.
Yeah, no, I think I should know what happened to my parents because they're my fucking parents, lady. Let's use our persuade and see if she'll tell us.
True. Perhaps you're old enough to hear this, though it hardly seems like the right time.
Is there ever a good time to find out how your parents died?
Very well. If I do not tell you now, you'll only wonder. Your mother was a hunter, one of the finest, and your father was the keeper before Marathari. He was with us for a very long time. Your mother was from another clan, and her elders did not approve of the match. She and your father had to meet in secret. One day, bandits caught them alone in the forest. Your father was killed, but your mother escaped.
Humans killed my father?
Yes, but also city elves, too. Those of our kind living with humans do not hold to the old ways. Your mother held to life long enough to give birth to you. But grief racked her heart. One night she simply walked into the moonlight and never returned.
What do you say to that? It's a big bummer.
The clan decided not to discuss this around you, lest it poison your heart with sadness.
Yeah, you guys should have told me.
Our people have learned to live with much sorrow. It seemed only right that we not dwell on it. Your mother did leave you a gift, something of your father's for you to have once you were older. Perhaps the time has come.
Oh?
Take this key. You'll see some chests behind the storage Aravel by the Halapen. One of them was your mother's. Its contents are yours if you wish.
Well, the mystery of the key is solved. Let's go do that real quick. Sword and a necklace. Yeah, once I get my strength up a little more, I probably will put a sword in my dominant hand and use a dagger in my offhand. Necklace, that's what I was going to look at. Spirit resistance. We'll take it. Odds are I'll be able to use it. Since, you know, haunted mirrors and all. All right. Meryl, where you at, girl? So, I'm dumb. From far away, I did not realize that that was a child standing there, and I was like, that elf is tall. Like, what model are they using for that elf? No, he's just standing in front of a literal child.
Can we trust this Grey Warden? How do we know he didn't hurt Tamlin?
Tamlin hurt himself.
Why do we have to leave again? We're always going somewhere. Why can't I go to the Shem City?
You think you want that. Hi, Meryl.
The Keeper told me I'm to accompany you back to those caves. As her apprentice, I may see something you missed. But our main objective is to find Tamlin, of course.
Of course.
We must make haste. He may not have much time.
Federal's gonna tag along. Is that okay?
That depends on the Keeper. I thought we're supposed to go alone.
She said it was totally cool.
She is. I suppose I needn't worry about it then. Are you ready?
Aren't you worried about getting sick?
A little, but the Keeper cured you. How dangerous could it be? Even if I get sick, finding Tamlin or something valuable will be worth it.
Could everybody stop asking how dangerous it could be? That never goes well. That's like everybody's famous last words in this game. How much did the Keeper tell you about this?
Enough to pique my interest and my concern. You can explain the rest on the way.
All right, let's do this.
And let us make haste while daylight lasts.
Let us do. All right. Oh, I can level up real quick. Might as well. So... I think I'll do that just so I can use the sword I just got. Yeah, we'll do stealing for now. Stealing is a fun skill. And we'll take a stealth point. Cool. And then real quick, we will swap that out for that guy. Oh, those are literally the same thing I'm wearing. Meryl, here, wear some gloves. This one gives me better armor, but it doesn't give me the dexterity point, so I think I'm gonna pass on that. All right, here we go. Oh, what are you? Oh, we got some darkspawn. Baby's first darkspawn. Yeah, that's rude. Listen. Listen.
What were those things? Were those darkspawn?
Yep. That would make sense.
I've never seen anything like them. You can smell the evil on them. Where did they come from? Were they here before?
Maybe it's the mirror.
What would darkspawn have to do with our people? The stories say our Lathan fell long before the darkspawn appeared. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Let's hope we don't find any more of these monsters. Before we go, are you all right? Were you hurt during the fight?
I'm good.
You do look quite pale now that Meryl's mentioned it.
It's because I'm working so hard.
Well, I'll keep an eye on you. You've only just recovered from your illness. But let's not think of that now. We should move on.
Hiya. Okay. And Dead Holla again.
I wonder whose camp this is. Do you remember it being here?
You're the one who wanted to stop and talk about shit. Jeez.
We must act.
We have to get past these things. I got one.
Had it coming.
On it. Let's get started.
So the Genlocks are these short little kind of squatty darkspawn. They're one of the more numerous ones. You see lots of these. And they can be pretty much any class. You can have warrior ones, rogue ones, or mage ones. The mage ones will be called Genlock Emissary. We will see some of those later. Here we are. Gather your party and venture forth. Ooh, and see what's going on in our little codex. Ah! Genlock. Genlock? How do you pronounce it? I usually pronounce it Genlock. These are the most common darkspawn in the underground. Stocky and tough, Genlocks are notoriously difficult to kill even by magic. Alphas. In any group of Genlocks, there's usually one who's dominant. As the tallest, strongest, and smartest of their kind, Alphas serve as the sort of commander, directing or bullying the others in combat. Emissaries. The most intelligent of the Alphas become gifted sorcerers with many abilities akin to blood magic. These are the emissaries, and they usually only appear during a blight. Controls, we don't care about. Okay. Oh, I don't know if I just missed this on the way in or if it wasn't there. There's that dagger I wanted the whole time. It's gonna make me, like, unreasonably angry if that was there the whole time. Oh, look. Dead darkspawn.
So these are the ruins. Interesting. They're definitely of human origin, yet elven artifacts are scattered amongst them. Nothing explains the monsters, though. But we must find Tamlin, or what's left of him. I can't imagine he's still alive with those creatures about.
Don't be a downer. You don't know.
You're right. We should explore farther before I go on about my fears. I'm sorry.
So for some reason, my counter is showing that I've only been live for 3 minutes. If you've been here for a little while, did my stream cut out? Or is Streamlabs just being stupid? Let me know. Okay, so other than new corpses, which is always exciting, I don't see anything new down the hall, so. Duncan was busy down here. Dang, dude. Not busy enough.
I'll follow your lead.
On it.
Kill them!
Loud. Lyrium potion is not something that I will use, but my mage companions can use it. It gives you kind of a magic boost. It's like mana in other games, if you're familiar with games that use mana. Yep, nothing new over there. Go across this way. Yay! It's always nice to disarm a trap not by stepping on it. Makes you feel accomplished.
Let's get started. As you
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Let's get started. I will make you quick! Defend yourself!
Where are you? He was just hiding behind a pillar. He wasn't using stealth, but there are rogues within the Darkspawn ranks that can sneak up on you, so that's fun. I didn't see it. Good job.
Let's get started.
Wonder if these other skeletons are going to wake up and attack us. Since we didn't use all of them up in the last one when they woke up. Nope, apparently not. What's up, Dunkaroos? The man, the legend.
So you were the one fighting Darkspawn. I thought I heard combat. You're the elf I found wandering the forest, aren't you? I'm surprised you have recovered.
Can you still not hear me? How about now? Anything? So it seems like for some reason my audio has cut out. I don't know what's going on with the stream, but I am going to stop the stream and try to restart it, and we will see if that works. So I will be back shortly.